Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my updated Zombie World deck profile list for the December 2022 ban list. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into the list. Of course, starting off with your power 2-ofs, you run 2 copies of Doom King Balerdrock. Doom King Balerdrock is of course the boss monster of the deck that allows you to practically summon itself back out during each standby phase and to be able to add a negation and a banish whenever a zombie monster activates this effect. Continuing on, we do run, of course, 2 copies of Banshee. Banshee, of course, says when this card is sent to the graveyard, while this card is in the graveyard or on the field, you can banish this card to activate 1 Zombie World from your deck. Continuing on, we do run 2 copies of Glove Bloom. Glove Bloom does say that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card. Special summon 1 level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck if you have Zombie World on field. If you do not, you can add that card to your hand. Or you must add it to your hand. Continuing on to the starters of the deck, I run 3 copies of Unizombie. Unizombie has 2 effects. The first effect is that you can target itself, or you can target 1 zombie monster you control. Then you can discard 1 zombie monster from your hands, increase the level of that monster by 1. Then the second effect is you can target 1 zombie monster on the field. Then you can send 1 zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard to increase that level by 1 as well. Really powerful and easily the most powerful card in the deck. Continuing on, we do run, of course, 3 copies of Shiranui Solitaire. Shiranui Solitaire just says that while this card is on the field, you can contribute 1 zombie monster to special summon 1 zombie monster tuner with 0 defense from your deck. So that, of course, gets you your Unizombie. Then, to wrap up the starters, we do run 1 copy of Gozuki. With the deck being as tight as it is, I would run 2 copies, but I cannot find a decent spot to run the second copy. Practically, this card says that once per turn while this card is on the field, you can Foolish Burial any zombie from your deck. And then the other effect is if this card is sent to the graveyard, doesn't really matter where it's sent from the graveyard. But if it's sent to the graveyard, you can banish 1 zombie monster from your graveyard except for Gozuki to special summon 1 zombie monster from your hand. Continuing on to the extenders, sorry. We run 3 copies of Mizuki. Mizuki just says that while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish it to Monster Reborn, a zombie from your graveyard. And then I also run 1 Plague Spreader zombie to kind of be able to fix your hands up by putting it back to the top of the deck to special summon this card from the graveyard. Continuing on to the hand traps, we do run 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 copies of Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, and 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence. I don't think I really need to go into too much on why I run these. I would be running 3 copies of each, however, it was either run 3 copies of each or run Forbidden Droplets, and I feel like Forbidden Droplets, being able to send zombies from your hand, is just really powerful, and to be able to use it for if you're forced to go second. Alright, continuing on to the spell cards, we run, of course, 2 copies of Zombie World. Zombie World just says that all monsters on the field and in the graveyard are zombies. Of course, that means both players, which is actually really good for our 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Super Polymerization just says discard 1 card, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either side of the field as fusion material. So that being said, we can make our opponent's monsters zombies, and then we have a fusion monster that requires just 2 zombies, so that just uses our opponent's monsters. Continuing on with the spells, we do of course run, as I said, 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. Forbidden Droplet literally is just there to be able to help break boards going second, as well as putting zombies in the grave. Continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator is just there to be able to help ensure our Shiranui Solitaire to be able to go off, because practically the main weakness of the deck is if your normal summon gets stopped, you just lose. Like, there's really not much you can do after that point. Then continuing on, we do run one copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial, easily one of the best spells in the deck, being able to just send any monster from deck to graveyard. Zombies want to be engraved. Not much more I can say about that. Continuing on with the spells, we do run 3 copies of Ready Fusion. Ready Fusion just says that you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon a level 6 or lower non-effect fusion monster from your extra deck, but it cannot attack and destroy it during the end phase. This is treated as a fusion summon. Practically, it's just a weaker version of Instant Fusion, but you can run 3. With that being said, we also do run 1 copy of Instant Fusion to wrap up the spell cards. To finish up the deck, we do, of course, run 3 copies of Rivalry of Warlords. Practically in a pure build, there's really no reason not to run the Rivalry of Warlords to be able to try to lock our opponents out of being able to play. Alright, and continuing on to the extra deck, we do run 2 copies of Vampire Sucker. Vampire Sucker just says that whenever a zombie monster is special summoned from the graveyard, you can draw a card. It also has another effect that says if you were to tribute summon a zombie monster, you can tribute a monster your opponent controls, which it doesn't come up often, but however, it still can come up. And then pretty much that's all for Vampire Sucker. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Avenged Savior. Avenged Savior just says that practically the main reason why we run this is it says that if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can send 1 zombie from your deck to your graveyard, then decrease your opponent's attack by 200 times that level of the monster that was sent to the graveyard, which is really powerful. Continuing on to the power link monsters that I don't think I really need to explain too much on what they do. We do run 1 copy of Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, to be able to become really big and get over monsters. We run 1 copy of Apollosa, Bow of the Goddess. I really love this artwork. Practically just being able to set up negations against our opponent. And then, of course, we do run 1 copy of Access Code Talker to be able to ensure games. Just end games as soon as possible. Continuing on to the Synchro Monsters, we do run 1 copy of Red Eye Zombie Dragonlord. Red Eye Zombie Dragonlord has the effect of once per turn during your opponent's turn, you can just quick effect special summon a zombie from your graveyard. Don't really need to say too much more about that. Just being able to have this on the field and just say, during your end phase, summon back you and a zombie, summon back Gozuki, just summon back a starter or an extender. And it's just really powerful just to be able to bring that back out and use that effect on the next turn. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Immortal Dragon. Immortal Dragon has the effect of you can send 1 zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card's level becomes the difference in the original levels of that monster and this card. So practically, what that means is, let's say you were to send Doom King Ballardrock off the effect of this can now become a level 2. Or you can send like Mizuki, that's the difference between 6 and 4, that's 2. Or just a bunch of different things just to be able to level modulate and be able to go help you get into Red Eye Zombie Dragonlord. To wrap up the Synchro Monsters, I personally run 1 copy of Warlord Savage Dragon. Warlord Savage Dragon, it doesn't come up often anymore because Halki Fibrax sadly has been banned. However, I feel like it's still too good not to run because it still can come up, being able to set up negations. Moving on to the fusion monsters, for the Super Polymerization, we run 1 copy of Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon. This card is the card I was talking about that just requires 2 zombies. It says that during combat, monsters cannot be destroyed by battle with this card. And then if that monster is still on the field after the end of the battle, you can special summon 1 token with the same attack and level as that monster, and decrease that opponent's monster to 0 attack. So practically, you summon this, attack your opponent's monster, summon a token, attack with the token into that, and you deal a ton of damage, and you just get over a big monster. Continuing on, I do run one copy of Predaplant Dragostapelia. Main reason why I run this, of course, is for the tier limit matchup, because usually they do end on 2 monsters. One of them being a fusion, one of them being a dark. Really not much more I need to go into by saying that. And then, of course, I do run one copy of Garura to be able to it's one of the best super poly targets. Why would you not run it? Moving on to the ready fusion targets, we do run one copy of Sea Monster Theseus and one copy of Alvain, the Essence of Vanity. The only reason why we run these is because they are, of course, non-effect tuners, just to be able to extend, as well as Sea Monster Theseus is a zombie monster, which does come up. Then for the Instant Fusion, which of course you can use Instant Fusion to summon out either of those last 2 monsters, or you can use it for Millennium Eyes Restrict, just to be able to help deal with hand traps. Alright, so that's about it for the deck profile. Be sure to leave a like, comment down below what you guys think of the deck profile. Check out in the description for my Twitter. Also, I do have my Twitch, which I do stream every once in a while. Very rarely. I want to do it more, but And then, with that being said, that's really about it, guys. See ya.